And the breaking news right now at noon, Vice President Kamala Harris now minutes away from landing at the world's busiest airport. Glad you're with us. I'm Rick Folbaum. Let's take a look at live pictures now showing Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The Vice President is traveling to Atlanta to drum up support ahead of this November's general election, of course. Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm is live at the airport for us. And Rebecca, Georgia has become really one of the most important swing states in the country. It will be hard to win the White House without winning here.
Oh, you are absolutely right, Rick. We are awaiting the arrival for Vice President Kamala Harris. We're at an area of the airport where there's a lot of security right now. In fact, the Secret Service has asked us not to disclose exactly where within the airport we are located. But I want you to take a look because we have some information about why she is here. Today, the Vice President kicking off her nationwide economic opportunity tour, and she's doing that right here in Atlanta. Of course, Georgia is a battleground state, so this will also be an opportunity for her to campaign. Polls are showing that the Biden-Harris administration needs to shore up support among key groups of Democrats, including black voters, where their numbers are slipping. Vice President Harris will be joined today by members of Congress, including Senator Raphael Warnock, Senator John Ossoff, Congresswoman Nikema Williams, just to name a few. This afternoon, she will take part in a moderated discussion, and we're told she'll also tout a $158 million grant that the U.S. Department of Transportation recently awarded Atlanta to fund what will be called the Stitch. Now, that is a park in downtown Atlanta that's going to be built. It's going to reconnect communities that were divided in the 1950s and 60s with the building of the downtown connector. Vice President Kamala Harris scheduled to arrive within the hour here at Hartsfield-Jackson. We'll have updates for you throughout the afternoon and evening. We're live, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.